What up, Seeps? How you doing, buddy?
Good on you, Maji.
I'm alright. I'm alright. How's the day treating you?
Month end in a sales job. Never an easy day. Um, no, 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 no. Yeah. It's been one hell of a day. It's been one hell of a day.
Yeah. Speaking of hell of a day, how's training going? I know things have been a little turbulent for you
Yes,
last little
yes,
while.
yes, yes, yes. Training. Uh, with obviously, as you are aware, recently diagnosed as type 2 diabetic, with a dash of high blood pressure there. So having adjusting to that has been very challenging. And it's the I was talking to Hardis about it actually, that I don't feel like I used to when I'm in the gym, and it takes a knock to the ego. You know, when you
Yeah.
start struggling with a 140 kilo bench, um, 180 kilo squat feels heavy. That to me has been a very difficult thing to navigate. So the training, I've to an extent I've made peace with the fact that I am not who I used to be at right now. So I'm taking it slow.
Mm.
I'm training in the mornings, as you saw. That's the most stupid thing in the world, but it works for my schedule at the moment. So I'm training in the mornings, doing what I can, taking it nice and slow. But I have a newfound respect for people who train with conditions such as that, diabetics. You know, people who have those sort of medical
Yeah.
conditions, because it adds another element of difficulty to this whole thing. Powerlifting is not easy to begin with.
Mm.
It's three lifts, yes, just three basic lifts, but the training aspect of it is not easy. So to add another barrier, another variable that you have to now try and figure out, okay, if my sugar level is too low, then I can't really train well. So I have to make sure that it's here, and I have to do this. If it tanks while I'm training, then I have to. Nah, absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. I know. I think
Absolutely.
Shanae. Oh, what's her last name now? Starts with a B. I'm blanking on it. But like, she's in the under 60 category. I think she also has. I think hers is type one. She wears the little
Yes,
glucose
yes,
monitor
yes.
thingy on her, which is the only reason I know.
Travis.
Uh, but yeah,
Travis
is
also
that
is a
is
type
that is
one
that
diabetic.
who's that?
Travis. I'm not too sure what his surname is. Surname. Well, surname is. He's also type one diabetic. Part of TK's team. The guy who owns this company that makes gym equipment.
Oh, TJ. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yes, yes. You see what I'm talking about. He's a type one diabetic. Very strong. Very, very strong. How he does it with this nonsense is something else, man. It's
Yo, listen, like powerlifting, powerlifting is a hard ass sport, and to have even more
it's
cards against you is it makes it more challenging than it already is.
it really is easier to just walk away from it. I think one of the episodes I said that there's more to life than powerlifting, and this experience really opened up that more. But that doesn't necessarily mean that well. I'm not really saying that people shouldn't take powerlifting seriously, or they shouldn't have aspirations or whatever in this. But for me, having gone through this, I can comfortably say that if I never get 1,000 kilos, I'll be okay. It's an odd one, I know. Before this whole
Uh,
experience, I thought to myself, I have to, I cannot die without touching 1,000 kilos. But now, as long as I'm breathing in and I have the ability to train and I can get under a relatively heavy-ish weight, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm happy with that.
I'm not quite where you are yet, but I can
Hmm.
feel I can feel the mileage the sport has put on me is starting to catch up. And like, listen, like I'm someone who my frame is suited for powerlifting. My joints are not. My joints have never enjoyed doing this. I had
Hmm.
two knee surgeries one for each knee before I turned 23. Like my joints are cock. And
Jeez.
neither one was related to powerlifting. That was just like, it was rugby and just everyday stuff. So my joints are not the greatest. So I can feel now like, yeah, yes, you guy. Like I was telling a friend of mine when I was like 21, 20, I used to work at Virgin Active. I was a personal trainer. So what I would do is I'd put like 180 kilos in the bar, shove the bar into the corner of the gym, and then every time I walked past it, I had to do a rep. So stone cold.
Oh.
Haven't warmed up, I could deadlift 180 for a speed rep, stone cold. Zero issue for a joke.
Yeah, try that now.
Now, I'll spend 45 minutes doing mobility warm-ups, getting into it, get to 180 as part of my my warm-up sets, and it will feel fucking heavy. And I'm like, I'm stronger now than I was back then, but my body fucking hates me now.
I think it also puts into perspective guys such as your Martin, your guys who are masters in the sport, in the masters category, who are still doing this, what it takes for them to actually, because I don't think past the age of 30 or 40, I'll still be trying to be a powerlifter. No. So guys who are still doing this in their 40s, early, late 40s, even 50s, I think Zane also is in his, 40s, 50s, somewhere there?
Somewhere there, yeah. No, the mad respect.
Yes.
Like if you start late, like if you started in your 40s and you go into your 50s, that makes sense to me. I'm like, your powerlifting years are still young. But the oaks who started in their 20s and still going in their 40s and 50s, fucking hell. And not just still going, like they're still doing well. Like Martin could probably bury me in a training session. Like I've seen the way the man trains, and like the rep people.
What have an engine? He does have a hell of an engine.
Yeah, Steve, man. Like that's impressive.
Man.
I could not. I will not be able to keep trucking for that long. I don't. If I don't hit 1,000 kilos by the time I'm 35, I don't think it's happening.
No, I think for you, the thing with you is that you like playing yourself down. Well, you like the whole underdog thing. So you'd say such things in hopes that people put you at the back of their head, or back of their mind, so that you don't have to keep explaining yourself to them. And then out of nowhere, just like this, you just want to pop up and do the 1,000, and then you're like, okay, bye. So I figured out your strategy, Ed. I figured out your strategy.
Legitimately, there's gonna come a year. I don't know when that year is. Probably won't be this year. Maybe next year. Maybe the year after. The stars will just align perfectly. I will give it full gas and then bow out and be like, "Shot for coming. See you later."
I think that's what Eddie Hall also did. 2017, he won World's Strongest Man, and I was like, okay, thanks, bye. I honestly think if I ever choose to get back on that 1,000 kilo journey to chase the 1,000, once I hit it, that's it. I'm not gonna try and do 1050, 1070. No. I just want 1,000, and then I'm like, okay, bye.
Because my thing is like I know what my capability is. I'm not the dude who's going to do 1,100. Like that's just not. I'm not that guy. And I don't think 1,010 or 1,020 is that much more impressive than 1,000. Like after 1,000, the next benchmark is 1,100, and I'm like, I'm not going to reach that.
It is that much more impressive than 1,000 because there's 20 more kilos. So 1,010, 1,020 is that much more impressive than 1,000, but
nah, I don't think so.
I'm not really interested in getting that. Nah.
Well,
because
once you're part of the 1,000 club, the club is so small. Yeah. I don't actually care about the divisions in between it.
Interestingly enough, looking at the current field, who do you obviously we have 3,000 kilo. We have three lifters who have 1,000 kilos. Who do you think in the next, let's say, 3 years could possibly add their names to that list?
So 3 years, people who are going to add to get to the 1,000.
1,000, yeah.
If I had to put my money on it, 3 names. It's a good question. I think Hein Botha, just because of his current trajectory and progress, he could probably get there.
Hein Botha.
Yeah, I think he probably could.
Okay.
Actually, let's bring up who are the current leads right now. Let's have a young squeeze here. I may or may not edit this to show these names on the screen so everyone else can look with us, because that sounds like a mission,
Okay.
and I am a lazy person. By total. Okay, so right now in the top 10, you have Colton,
Mm.
Nicholas, Kurt, Johan Smith. Johan Smith right
Mm-hmm.
now has a 954,
Nice.
which he did in 2020. I mean, he's still
And then
young enough
sleeve.
that if he wanted to dip his hat back in,
Remember
he
that
could.
954 was in sleeves.
I mean, if the man threw on a pair of wraps in there, like he could. I don't know what his current
Mm.
stats are like, because has he competed in a while? I
Mm.
don't think he's competed in a while. I
I don't
lie
think
competed early last year.
so.
Did
And
what was his toe? Why doesn't it show total? Let me see here. He did a 325 squat in fucking sleeves, man. Yes, that's okay, strong.
jeez.
A
Yeah.
215 bench and a 300 dead. It amazes me. It amazes me. Like, my squat is dog shit, because I am right up here with all these oaks with bench and deadlift, but my squat is fucking dog shit. Every time I look at someone who's better than me, I'm like, you can only squat more than me. Everything else, I'm right up your ass. That's why my squat is dog shit. That was an 840 last year, so he's a little rusty. But I think if
Mm.
he put pedal to metal, he could.
100%. 100%.
Arno, he's retired. Tristan, not after his injury with his knees. Matthew is
Ed,
retired.
you see this top 10 list? Only
Yeah,
three of them, well, only four of them are still active.
only 4 still active. Yeah, and even Johan is like a. I don't know how active he is. If he did one meet last year and like somewhat underperformed, but yeah, it's I don't know. Is that, I feel like it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing that,
It's a
like,
very
what's this
bad
thing?
thing.
Like, last time Tristan competed in powerlifting, or when he said this was 2017, his
Jeez.
910. Like, it's how many years ago was that? And it was struggling to
Oh,
reach there.
okay, it's a good thing that the top three are constantly changing. Well, not constantly changing, but we know that they're active. So we know that these
Yeah,
totals are going to
yeah.
go up. Like that
And those three will
fourth
change this
to
year. Yeah,
10,
4 to 10,
that's very
all.
concerning. For
Yeah.
yeah.
Even if you look at the top
So
20,
now
it's still like there's me
and
at
a couple of guys
11th.
you can point out who are not. Uh, huh? Nah,
I was saying
Ed.
there's me at
As a
11th.
sick man, I
Not
can
you.
still beat you. Don't get too excited. As a sick
Prove
man, I
it.
can still take you out.
Prove it.
Don't
You've
dare
been
me. Do
talking a
not dare
big game for years
me.
now.
No. I did one competition and I put you in a corner already. So imagine if I do my second one with a bad back, diabetes, and high blood pressure. Ed, don't get me riled
I got
up.
high blood pressure too. I've had 2 knee ops.
Nah,
I also herniated my
knee
disc
ops
in
are
my back.
but I still have the diabetes, so I'm still worse. But don't try me, Ed. Don't get me going. Don't get me going.
Wait, who's older
But
between the
the
two of
top
us? Am I
20,
older or are you older? What year were you born?
uh, May.
Of 93, right?
Yes, 93.
See, I'm older than you by a whole 2 months. Like, I'm ancient.
No,
You're
Ed,
still
come on.
young.
Come on, Ed. 2 months. Come on, Ed. This is very
Franco, my
concerning.
baby.
I think
He's still doing
we
his
just.
thing.
Which one is Franco? Who's Franco?
Uh,
A lot of guys are
big,
not. I don't.
big dude. I'm
Okay.
not sure. I'm not sure if he's colored. Is he Muslim? I don't know. Gives me that vibe. I hope that's not offensive to say.
Okay.
Some of that,
Yes.
like, really monstrous dude.
Yes, actually.
He was at
That's a
WPC
possibility.
Nationals 2022.
Okay.
If I could go back in time and pick my parents
Mm-hmm.
carefully, I would want to end up with his body. Like that man is built so well.
Built to lift.
Like if I imagine the Juggernaut was a real person, that's the build I'd imagine you'd have.
Jeez. And you last competed in 2022.
Yeah,
This list here has people who last competed in 2015. Etienne Smith is still in the top 20.
Etienne's still in the
Um,
top 20. Yeah, see.
as you said, Arno has retired. He's in the top 5.
It's crazy, right?
This is very this is yeah no this is very
I think we
concerning.
spoke
It
about this
this
last time.
is
I think we spoke about this last time. If you look
yeah
at the female list is
yes
way more dynamic because of the top 20, only one, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8. So out of the top 20, only 8 have competed before 2020 or last competed since before 2020. So more than half has been from 2020 onwards.
so technically the ladies are actually making way more progress than the guys are.
Way more progress. If you look at the people who competed last year in this, although I realize I'm looking at their best. Okay, when they set their best total ever, in the last 2 years, let's say
Yes,
2020 to now,
yes.
we have
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So half the list has done it in the last 2 years. How are you doing?
And now
Way
it
better than
brings
we
about
are.
an interesting question, um, because now there are more athletes competing, I believe, but we're
Hmm?
not seeing a lot of them actually knocking off these, especially with on the men's side. They aren't taking out these these totals that have been here for 5+ years. So it brings up the question of quality, the quality of athletes, or might it be the is it an issue? Or let me put it this way: is it an issue of quality, or is it an issue of experience? Because at the same time, you look at someone like Tristan. Tristan he was 30 years old when he said this. Arno was 43.
Mm.
Most of these guys were above the age of 28 when they said did their records. For instance, Etienne was 41. You get what I'm
That's
saying?
actually quite interesting. Yeah, that's actually quite interesting.
So if you look at the ages of the guys, they're a bit older. So it's seldom when you'll see someone who's 25 and lower in the top 20. There's a few of them, but the
Yeah.
majority is 28 and above. With the ladies, slightly different, I suppose. Yeah, slightly different.
I would imagine they're younger,
But the
right?
top three, slightly, not that much younger. The
Slightly, but
top
not by
three,
much, eh?
not by much. So it's similar actually.
Oh, it's very similar.
So it's an issue of experience, I suppose.
Essie, Trish set hers at 57. She's in the top 7. Imagine a
57.
500K total at 57. Holy shit.
Jeez. Nah, could never be me. Mm-mm.
Now, some people have longevity, eh?
Absolutely not. That's amazing.
That is a 500 kilo total at 57 years old. Yes. Could never be me.
This is a very interesting thing that we've stumbled upon here, Ed. Um, especially the men's side is a bit concerning to me. Um,
Mm.
very concerning, and I'm part of the
What do you
problem
think?
because
What do you think the missing link is? Like,
hmm?
what do you think the missing link is? What's not pulling amazing performances out of the Oaks?
I'm trying to figure it out, Ed. I'm really trying to. Guys are really. I think guys are training harder. There's more information out there right now, so
Mm.
the training is more, let's say, more scientific in a sense. Um, so guys are doing the work. But I think it's also a mindset thing. When you listen to there's a podcast I watched that Dan did, RPC Dan.
Hurling.
Yes. I was talking about the origins of RPC and so forth. Then he was talking about the training partner he had when he started and the mindset that those guys had. Even Martin mentioned it. I'm not too sure where, but he did talk about when he started powerlifting how that was. I think that previous generation, they just have that thing where they're able to on the day make it happen. I just think
Mm.
that there's that. I've seen it with you also. For instance, your was it WPC nationals where everything in your body was basically broken. You did your last deadlift basically on one leg. Most people would have pulled out and said, "I'm not going to do that." But there's that thing where if the occasion calls for it, we're able to pull it through. And you see it mostly, unfortunately, with older lifters, with guys who've been in the game for longer. I remember the Droga competition we just had last year, Harris pulled off an amazing deadlift at the end. Because they have that ability to just switch it on when it's needed. And I think with the younger guys, again, my humble opinion, they tend to sometimes be too technical. Where if it's not all feeling right on the day, they'll pull back.
I hear you.
So there's I think that there's with the older guys there's that mix or that that fine line where okay, maybe in training they won't go as crazy, but on that day they know how to just pull it off. And with the younger guys, it's more everything has to be aligned on that day for it to click and for them to be able to do what they need to do.
There might also be a an overabundance of good information that people who are
Okay.
experienced, that they have, so like paralysis by analysis. There's so many
Okay.
different methods you can pick from. You have all this good information, but you're too new to decipher what you should be following when, and you have the
Mm,
illusion of knowledge because you have all this good information at hand, but you
mm,
don't
mm,
actually know. It's part of the rant I did on one of the few times I'll go on a little bit of a, I
mm,
wouldn't say it was a rant, but one of the few times I'll like punt the same topic a while. I was on my
mhm.
stories on Strong and Steel. I was talking about how there was this reel I reposted, man. The guy was like, I can't remember the exact wording now, but the basic point was, aren't you tired of these inexperienced young people who have
Yes.
done their first powerlifting meet and then
Yeah.
suddenly their
Yes. Coaches.
bio reads DM me for coaching?
Yeah. Mm,
And I'm like, it's because we have so much good information at the click of a button. There's the illusion of competency. Whereas beforehand, it was hard fought, trial and
mm,
error. You would fumble for 5 years and eventually learn and get experience and figure out what is actually good. Now it's like, I saw two YouTube videos that told me the
mm.
right thing, and now I think I know everything.
But now the question would be, what for? Let's say a young lifter, what should they be doing it right now? Do they go the technical route, or do they go the trial by trial by error route? Which one is it? Because now they want to be one of the best, but there's also a way to get there. So they obviously have to have a plan. But
Mm.
sometimes you need that because the other thing we should take into consideration, if any one of these guys choose to come back, if Tristan chooses to come back, he could beat this 9-10 totally, guys.
Mm.
They still have the
You,
ability to do that. So what a younger guy now, what where do they go? Do they go the technical side or do they go the okay, I'm gonna try things, hurt myself, learn that way?
now, I think through personal experience, I think
Mm,
if your objective is to be the best athlete possible, get a coach.
okay.
Get someone
Okay.
who's
Yes.
done all the trial and error, all the
Mm,
learning, actually knows what they're doing, is experienced. both academically and physically, practically. If you want to be the best athlete
Okay.
possible, get a coach. If you want to be the best coach possible, trial and error your way through it.
That's an interesting way of okay. But now, Ed,
Because
let's take the
like,
first. Yeah.
yeah, go.
No, go ahead. Go ahead,
There
Ed.
you go. No, I was gonna say, like, for
Let's
me,
take
I
the.
trial and errored my way through the first couple years, and I
Yes.
think that's made me a very good coach. But I'm
Yeah.
a slightly worse athlete for it because I spent the first couple of years not doing things properly. If I had like off the jump
Mm.
had things dialed in, I'd be slightly ahead of where I am now as an athlete. I'd probably be a worse coach though.
Would you have? But you wouldn't have done it any differently.
For me, it worked out the way I think it was meant to work out. Like I love the coaching aspect of it. I love the competing aspect of it.
Okay.
I think I got a coach at a right enough time that I can still
Okay.
reach my maximum potential.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but like it worked out for me. It may or may not work out for the next person.
I completely agree with the second part that you just said. Both parts actually. But going back to the if you want to be a good athlete, you need to get yourself a coach. I have. Let me ask you this: do you believe, or do you think that some coaches actually tend to hold their athletes back? That their athletes were actually worse off because of their coach?
Listen, like coaches are human beings also, so they're not without their flaws. Let's assume your coach is good and competent, but
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason it's not working out for you, like their methodology doesn't gel with you or whatever it is,
Okay.
that situation can happen. I have seen less often, but I have seen some coaches play favorites, and like one athlete gets all the attention. Their
Yeah.
program is like meticulously put together and programmed and like periodized,
Mm-hmm.
where the other athlete gets a little bit more of a cookie cutter. I'll just use this
Mm-hmm.
old program for you type thing. I have seen that. And that can
Okay.
also, if you're the unfortunate athlete not getting as much attention, that can also hold you back. So getting a good coach isn't the end of the story. You need to like pay attention to like, is this good coach coaching me well?
Now for a beginner or someone who's just new in the game, how can they tell? They're
That's a
still
good
learning. How do I figure out if this guy's working for me? What methodology is working for me? Do I have a quick cutter program? How do I figure these things out?
That's a good question. It can be hard, eh? Because at the same time, you don't want to like. First of all, comparison. You're like, okay, cool. Me and so started at a similar time. How are they progressing?
Mm,
How am I progressing? But at the same time, like if me and Colton started at the same time, Colton's going to be light years ahead of like his genetic potential and my genetic potential are miles apart. So sometimes comparison isn't a good thing because like you don't have the same set of playing cards the next person has. So there's a fine line. Like you want to
mhm.
compare, but you also want to be realistic to you within reason. I don't know. That can be a very difficult thing to spot.
Because then, if as you said, you're in the situation now. A lot of guys might argue that a lot of athletes that are being coached aren't the top 1%. So one could
Hmm.
argue that they're not getting the same attention as those who have the potential to be the top 1%. So now from their coaches. So why should then an athlete who's currently doesn't have the potential to be the top 1% consider being coached if he's not going to get the same attention that the top 1% is getting from a coach?
Well, like, there's some coaches who play favorites like that with their better athletes and
Mm-hmm.
their worst athletes, but there are a lot of coaches who don't. Like I'm a coach. Like listen, like if you're paying me for a service, I'm giving you a service. Like I'm gonna give it back to you as much as you're giving it to me. And if you're giving me your all in terms of you're doing all your check-ins, you're doing all your training sessions, you're giving me feedback constantly, I'm giving it right back to you. Whether you're the athlete of mine who's going to win nationals, or you're the guy who we're trying to avoid last place with. It doesn't make any difference to me. So I think just
But I
having the right coach, and I
mm,
think also like it's a being critical of what you're doing. So like with me and David, I
mm,
said from the get go, like, okay, cool. I'm starting off with David. I know how I've trained myself over the last little while,
okay.
adapting to his new training approach. I'm going to be critical. I'm going to
Hmm.
give it a good amount of time. I'm going to give it a full year. Like I'm going to follow everything you say without question for a full year, unless it's like a major red flag. And then we'll
Not to
see after a
interject,
year. Yeah.
you stayed with David for a year,
Oh no, that was the original time frame was a year, but I've been with him years at this point.
but you gave it a year.
Yeah.
You didn't give it 12 weeks.
No. Like he and any coach needs 12, 16 weeks just to get to know the athlete.
Thank you. That's an important thing to
Like that, that,
mention. I
that
think. I think that's a very, very important thing to mention.
that's the thing. Like people think like, oh, I'm going to give this coach 12 weeks. You're now assuming that this coach is going to correctly off the jump
Mm.
know how your physiology is, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, how you take instruction, your work ethic. They're going to get all those factors correct right from day one, and you're going to see all this amazing progress in 12 weeks. Like you haven't gotten amazing progress in 12 weeks ever, but you
I
expect
think
this
the
person
other
to
thing
pull it
is
out of you.
there's a perception that coaches are magicians. So if I don't get the results I want with this coach, in I'm gonna give him minimum of 3 months or 4 months, and if I don't get the results I want, I'm gonna go try another one. And if I don't get the results I want with him, I'm gonna move to another one. And I think a lot of athletes are losing the progress they could have made if they just stuck with the program a bit longer. But I have another question here because this coaching thing is a very controversial, not controversial, but it's a big topic, and I think it needs to be looked at. You are a coach, and I'm an athlete, so it's a good thing that we can ask these questions because one of the questions I've always had is, okay, let's say we start working together again once I'm okay and I'm not sick, and then do you as a coach take into consideration what the athlete likes doing?
Yeah, of course. It's like listen, like if I could tell you until I'm blue in the face that if you mix cucumbers, beetroot, and vinegar together, it's amazing for your body. If you drink a liter of that, you're going to feel amazing. If that tastes like the most disgusting thing in the world to you, you're not going to drink that for very long. Eventually, it's going to be like, listen, this is cock. I'm not doing it anymore. So I need to find a little bit of sugar that you enjoy to mix into all of that to get you to do what I want you to do overall. So each person, because when you're coaching an athlete, you're not just coaching them physically. You have to take into consider the mental aspect as well. If
Mm.
they're within reason enjoying what they're doing, they're going to push themselves a little bit harder than they otherwise would. So I do take, if you're like, listen, I really hate if I really hate wide grip bench press for whatever reason, I know if I make you do that for 18 weeks, like you're not going to take it seriously. We're not going to see the improvements from it I want. So I'm like, okay, well, let me try and figure out something that you enjoy doing that achieves the same purpose within reason. If you're like, listen, I hate training hard, period, then I don't know what to tell you guys. That part's kind of necessary.
Okay, but now for I've seen this. Certain coaches would prescribe something. You don't. It just doesn't click for you.
Mm.
But they insist, and then when they insist, they make it seem as if you don't have the discipline needed to carry that out. It's coaching a dictatorship. I think that's the question we must ask, because there is this: you do it's either you do exactly what I say, or you don't do it at all. Like,
Mm.
is it? Are we working together? As you said, you're learning about me as an athlete, and obviously I'm also taking cues as to your coaching, your style, your approach? How does it deal with when I give him this sort of feedback, so forth and so forth? Is it this is Ed's house? What Ed says goes, or is there a way to for us to interact in this partnership?
Well, how I like doing things is I'm like, because as human beings, we're always gonna, if we don't like something, we're gonna moan for a bit. Like we don't, as
Yes,
naturally, most people don't like change. So I'm always like, okay, cool.
100%.
Here's something. Try it. Give
Mm-hmm.
it a good shot. Like give it like 3, 4, 5 weeks. If
Yeah.
after that you really still don't like it, okay, cool. We gave it a fair shot. We tried. It's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Let's swap it out. Because you get athletes like, because a lot of athletes, they gravitate towards certain things. Like, listen, I love squat because I
Yeah.
love squat because I'm good at squats. I hate
Yeah.
bench because I suck at bench. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're gonna bench 3 times a week. They're gonna fucking hate doing that because they suck at
Mm-hmm.
it. So I'm like, listen, let's just try it for a couple weeks. If mentally, really, you cannot take this after 3, 4 weeks, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find another way to improve your bench. But like
Okay.
sometimes it's like you do it for long enough, you improve at it. And like if you ask me what my favorite lift is, the answer changes depending on which one's going well at the moment. So
That's
there are
true.
periods I hate
Yes.
squats, there are periods I
Yeah.
love squats. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with my coaching. I'm like, listen, just give it a shot, eat your vegetables, and then after a couple tries, if you really still don't like it, okay, I give up. Let's swap it around to something you'll enjoy more. But it
Okay.
depends on the athlete too. Some athletes I can be more firm with because I know like they'll eventually like this. They just need to get into the rhythm of it. And there are some athletes I'm like, okay, once they tell me they don't like it, there's nothing I can say to get them to try it. Like that's that choked. Let me try the next thing.
So are we saying that if a youngster is dealing with a coach who says it's either my way or the highway, is that something for them to be concerned about?
It can be. It can be. It also depends. Like it's my way or the highway. In what circumstances? Like if I'm telling you, hey, listen, this doesn't work for me. I've tried it in the past. I have good experience with this particular thing. It doesn't work, and they're like, shut up and follow me. Then you're like, are you not even going to consider my feedback at all here? Or if they're like, okay, cool, I hear you, but let's do this for this long and come to a consensus eventually. It's a give and take. It's a
Mm.
negotiation. It's at the end of the day, their goal should be your best interest.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. Ed, quick question. I don't know why I'm asking so many questions. I do apologize. As a coach, how do you teach? Um, because we spoke about these older lifters that they have there's that mental fortitude that they tend to have, that ability to
Mm.
push through. How do you teach that as a coach?
Yo, bruh, yo, bruh. I almost want to say you either have that or you don't, which is not a
I
hundred
think to an
percent true.
extent,
Like some people do eventually like get the hang of it, but yo, like for example, like Nicole, and like
yeah,
when she started, and like she did modeling when she was younger, so it's like she was a little bit
yeah,
more prissy, a little bit more dainty. So it's like getting her to learn how to grind through something difficult took him. It
yes,
took him.
yes, yes.
So with people like that, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to gradually introduce you to harder and harder things. And I'm
Okay.
hoping to progressively overload that to a point where I'm like, okay, now you can handle really hard things. I want you to notice that you can handle really hard things.
Mm.
And I'm hoping you're going to naturally take to that and get that fortitude. But like some people, no matter how gradual it is, as soon as things get hard, they switch off. Like some people just don't have it.
It's I'm with you on that. I would like to say, to an extent, I think, as you said, that there's certain people you can introduce that to them. Ah, no, Ed. I think it's one of those things. It's either you have it or you don't.
For the most part, yeah.
Nah, I
There
really
was one
think
athlete I had, guy. I think I worked with this person for, I want to say a year, probably longer in powerlifting.
mhm.
And even after a year, they got stronger. They progressed, they got better, but we could never get to the point where they were training like you are training your ass off. Like I can see how hard you grow. It was training needed to be easy to moderate, and the only way we got them to progress was like it was built really smart. But it
But Ed,
was
isn't that what? Not to cut you off, Ed. Sorry, but isn't that what the general population of powerlifting mindset is structured like? And not that I'm trying to speak down to them, but not everyone wants to be number one.
mm,
Not everyone wants to have the highest total. So is that particularly wrong? I think that's the question I want to ask. Is it wrong for guys to just want something that's a program that's tailored in such a way that they make progress, but they don't have to push hard? They want to come to a comp, they want to beat the last total that they had, and that's it.
mm. No, I mean that's fine.
And isn't
That's
that
fine.
what
Listen,
a
like
lot of coaches deal with? As coaches,
yeah,
not
actually,
not yourself, but isn't that what a lot of coaches deal with? Guys who, for instance, if now, if I do say, okay, I want to get a coach, I just want a coach to get me from day one to day two. I don't even want to hear about anything about 1,000. Just get me to
yeah,
next week.
yeah. No, that's fine. Like you're like this sport, like any other, you're allowed to have the
Mm,
weekend warrior who's like, it's a hobby. I have fun. I enjoy doing it. I don't intend on being professional. I don't
yeah,
want to have SA colors. I'm doing this because I enjoy doing it, and that's absolutely fine. It's just unfortunate that powerlifting is the one sport. I think we spoke about this last time, where
mm.
the weekend warrior and the springbok compete at the same day, which is very
That's
unfortunate.
an.
Right
But
next to each
what I'm saying is, it's a we. Let's not call them a weekend warrior. They want to have fun. They want to be competitive, but they don't want to do that stuff.
other. That grind.
Get me
Yeah.
strong. Get me strong. I want to be strong, but I don't want to go through the grind and all of that.
Like a person like that, I'd be like I would hear them. I would agree with them. It's just managing expectations that there's only so strong you can get without that grind. Eventually, the easier approach will plateau you lower than the hard
Mm,
approach will plateau you. Like there is a certain level you'll reach where comfortable training cannot take you any further than where you are now. And for each person,
fair
that
enough.
exact place will be different. I've seen some people freaking walk their way to an 800 total. I've seen some people who grinded their way to 800 total. It's a little bit different for everyone, but the easier stuff will peak you at some point, and you have to be okay when it
Mm,
does, if that's what you want.
100%. 100%. I hear you, Ed. Ed, quick one. Thoughts on the upcoming comp Nicholas is doing?
Yo, I'm excited.
I
I'm
see Dan Bell
excited.
is part of that. I'm excited to see Dan Bell. That's my all-time favorite powerlifter.
That's gonna be epic, man.
I'm a
Like
total
like
guy, so love him.
listen, like Dan Bell is a monster to beat. Like first of all,
Yeah, for sure.
he is not going to be easy to beat. But listen,
Yeah,
I've been saying this for a while now. Nicholas is a 1,150 total lifter. Like
without a shadow of doubt.
it's in him. It is in him. I
Yes,
just want to fucking see it. Oh, I want to
yes,
see it so
yes.
bad.
Yeah. I think there's a small
Like
video.
he,
There's a little reel that he released where he was talking about his experience with the comp he did last time. First
yeah,
international com. Mentioned the things. What I liked about that is that firstly he mentioned things he needs to work on, and obviously first national international comp, the traveling and all of that. He was still figuring all of that out. So this is his second attempt. He now has a bit of a better idea of what to expect. He, as he said, one of the things he said is that he's planning on benching. I don't know, squatting before he benches, just to make sure he's not as fatigued as he was with the
yeah,
previous comp
yeah.
that affected his bench. So Nicholas will squat. They're using a monolift. It's a squat bar. Uh, in reps, Nicholas, I don't see why he can't squat 450. Personally, I
Yeah,
don't see
yeah.
why he can't do that. He benches 260. We've seen him do, I think, 260, 262.5. That's what I've seen him
Somewhere
do
in
in the
that
gym.
ballpark, yeah, training. Yeah.
Pulls 410. That's not an impossible
Nick,
feat for Nicholas.
Nicholas is the classic example of like this massive engine
Yes.
that when the race starts, the wheels start to skid. Like you can't actually get traction. I don't know what it is.
Yes.
He can't pull it on the day. And but you know he's capable of it. Like just under the right circumstances, when the stars align, it's gonna be fucking amazing. Whereas like Colton, who is, I would argue to say, probably a little bit more talented and naturally gifted than Nicholas is, just because of how much
Mm-hmm.
younger he is, how much
Yeah.
less muscle mass is on that frame, but generating the same amount of strength, and how
Mm-hmm.
much more room he has to grow. Because for his frame, he's still a little on the skinny side. Like he could still add a ton of muscle onto him. So I think he's a little bit
What,
more gifted.
110, right?
It's like I'm not even sure he feels
Yeah.
he cuts down to like 110. I think him filled out would be a 130 kilo dude cutting down to the under 125s when he's like fully like how
Okay.
old is
Okay.
Colton's still a
Colton is
whippersnapper. How old is
22.
this guy?
20,
Fuck me.
23. 23. 23.
Yeah, he's gonna be 23 this year. Imagine him at 27, puberty done, body solidified, joints rock hard, natural test levels still at their peak. Like he will be a fucking phenomenon. And he doesn't have the
I think Colton
he
is the
doesn't have the
future.
problem bringing it on the day. Like he's
Yes.
shown in the
Yes.
past that he
Yes.
can, because like his 1052 was, I think, him firing in all cylinders, or at least close to.
Oh no,
Whereas
that was a
Nicholas's
masterpiece.
1052, yeah, well, Nicholas's 1052 was him not firing on the day. So Nicholas is still ahead, but I think
But
Colton's
Ed,
gonna.
to hit 1,052 and you're not firing,
Yeah, listen,
and you
that's
are
fucking
in a
impressive.
foreign country,
That is fucking impressive. I won't
Ed,
lie. That is
don't forget, everything was on a stiff bar. So the deadlifts were on a stiff bar. They walked up
yeah.
the squats. Nah, Ed.
And
Colton
that's
is
why I still
amazing,
have
and I think
Nicholas ahead of Colton.
Colton is the future of, they say, powerlifting. I look at him as
Yeah,
the guy who's going to take over from what Nicholas has done and take it to the next level.
yeah, yeah. I think
Right?
yeah. I think for this year, I think Nicholas will probably, and we might eat this in a couple months because Colton's training is looking
Yeah,
fucking good. We might
yeah.
eat this in a couple months, but I think this year Nicholas will probably stay edged ahead. Kurt is not gonna keep those two relaxed though. I think Colt's gonna be the sneaky guy because no one thought he was gonna do 1,000 kilo total.
Mm.
No one thought that. So I think he's also going to sneak
I
into
did.
it in the conversation.
Nah, based on what Colton was doing prior to this meet, the was it Nationals? It was in the stars that Colton was going to do 1,000 kilos. I didn't think 1,052 though.
Yeah, I didn't
I
think
did
that
not
far.
think of
I
1,000.
didn't think that far.
That came out of nowhere.
That was beautiful.
But
That was,
it's
and I
I'm
missed all of it. I was fucking warming up for my own attempts. I missed all of it.
I would have forgotten my warm ups just to watch. I'll try again next. Mm-mm, mm-mm. But it should be interesting. I think
I just saw
Colton is
videos
also
talking
doing the
about it
same
after the
comp.
fact.
Huh?
Say again?
Colton will be
That's
doing
that.
the same comp the following year. So he's been invited to the Abs Pro. So that should also be
Yeah,
interesting.
I think he's also been invited to that, which is fucking sick.
It's ridiculous. But this top 20, Ed, I think it's something we need to really look into. As I said, I think it's a mindset thing. I think it's the ability to switch it on when it's needed and to push through. But
You know
it's
who
worrying.
I just saw their name now, and he's a very good example of what you're talking about. Love him to bits, but like Nathan Roots, I think that's how I pronounce his last name. He's number 27 currently. Nathan, I love you to bits.
Yes, yes.
I love you to bits. But if that
I
man,
think it was.
I don't know all the factors at hand, so I'm not going to speak too much to
Mhm.
them. But if he could just pull everything together for 6 months and show up to a meet, holy shit, he would dominate. That's a 950 total sitting
Nathan.
right there. That's a 950
Yes, I know
total
what you're
at
talking
least.
about. That's a monster right there. That's a
That's a
monster.
monster of a human being.
Uh,
He's
mhm.
underperforming. He's back at it now. Training's
There's one
going really
person that,
well. Last time I chatted to him,
yeah,
so maybe this year, but like just 6 months. Dial it in for 6 months. Oh, we would see things.
one person that I'm looking forward to seeing him bring it when everything comes together is TK. I think TK can put up something special
What
when
was his
when
last
when
total?
when
Like
he wants to.
the high sevens?
Yes. Uh, I yeah, I think TK is someone who can put up something unbelievable on the day when the stars have aligned and he wants to. He can.
Mm.
That's one athlete that I've always believed he can pull off something special for coming from the Western Cape. Um,
I'd give you that.
and then TK, and then there's also one of his athletes, Mark. Not too sure if you know who that is. Steadily
Is that the
progressing.
one with the mullet?
Yes, yes,
Ah, okay.
yes. Steadily progressing. Those two guys for me. If it clicks on the day, I think we will see something very, very, very amazing from those two.
There's one guy I'm thinking of, but for the life of me, I cannot remember his name.
Who?
Let me let me. I think he was in like the high sevens, low eights, somewhere there. What is this oak's name? I feel like I'll know it when I see it. Young kid, man, black dude, huge. He trains with Kurt. What's his name?
Victor.
Victor. That's the one.
Victor. Yes. No, that's a monster right there.
That's
Have
also
you
another
seen
one. If
TK's
he gets his act
TK's new athlete? What's his name? His Instagram handle is the Gorilla something.
together, that
I'll
doesn't ring
send
a
you his
bell for that.
profile on Instagram.
Yeah.
Monster. Uh, I think he did a 300 squat. No Benny without a belt, high bar.
A 300 high bar naked knee squat. My squat is trash. What the fuck?
No, we are aware. Don't worry about that. We are aware. Let's talk about this guy. He, he's deadlift and bigger guys. I found that
Jesus.
bigger guys we tend to struggle with deadlifts because
Yo,
first the hands you can't really hold the bar properly, and then getting
that's
down
big
there's
hand
also an issue.
syndrome's a
But he
thing,
also
guys.
it's horrible, man. But his deadlift is also well, I've experienced in just losing a deadlift, but that's neither here or there. His deadlift is also very solid. So I'm excited to see him on the platform because
300
he's
beltless high bar. Fuck me. Yo, what I wouldn't
and that's
give.
before he started working with TK. Now that he has coaching, I,
Yo.
I'm excited to see what he's going to do.
You know what
And
my
he's not been
biggest
in the
fear
sport
is?
for long. Eh? It's a few months.
You know,
He's only been in the sport for like five months, I think, 5 6 months.
my like I wouldn't say my biggest fear because like it's
Yeah.
gonna bother me, but it's not gonna bother me that much. But it's gonna bother me.
Okay.
Like, it's probably gonna happen anyway, so I just make peace with it. But what's gonna annoy the shit out of me
Yeah.
is have all these youngsters come out the woodworks and all of them suddenly out total me one after the other in the next couple months.
Make
Like,
peace with it. Ed. Make
I
peace
go
with
from
it.
being like, I'm doing all right, I'm crawling my way to that, and then suddenly it's like you're now top 50 shot for coming. All these kids just right
That
past
that,
you.
that, that that's the evolution of the sport. That's going to happen. They just make peace with it. It is what it is.
I'm,
I'm excited to see
I'm
that.
cool with that
I'm
happening. I'm cool with that
yeah.
happening after my 1,000 total, or at least after like a 920, 950. Like at least I can be like, oh no, I just got to where I wanted and I let you guys take over me. I retired. Now it's like, who retires with under 900 total? I can't keep face if they do it now.
Yeah. Also, Francois, your athlete, Francois. We I think the nationals. He only went there to pull the deadlift world record.
Yeah, if he had gone full steam at nationals, I think he could have. I think he did like an 800 total. I think
Yes.
he could have probably done somewhere in the 850 region had he gone full tilt.
He's also one to pay close attention to because his strength levels are up there.
Dude, his
Strength
deadlift is
levels are up
fucking
there.
phenomenal. Because he
Oh,
scored an 800. He scored an 800 in sleeves. Yeah, he was squatting in
yes.
sleeves and not trying to max out either. I think he did 2 attempts, so like an easy three,
Mm.
and was like, "Hey, saving my energy for deads," because he wanted the world record. So him
Another
full tilt,
interesting thing.
like an 850, 860 total. Him in sleeves. He's one of those people like when autism makes you a super athlete, like that's him.
He's
I
Francois.
all the natural safety mechanisms the rest of us have to like hit the handbrake when shit's getting a little too dicey. He does
Mm-mm,
not have. He just
mm-mm.
pedal, metal, go. And
But
thankfully, he has
have
a
you
body
seen
that
that
works with
in the top 20,
that.
4 of them are raw totals. The rest are reps in the top 20.
Listen, bro, like to have not everyone's like you with a fucking massive squat and sleeves. Like that is
No, and I'm just amazing. Let's just leave it at that. But let's talk about what we see here. And that's also something to look at. Look, this is my thing with the raw and reps thing. I
yeah.
am for reps. I love reps. I'll never set foot in reps again because of the pain. That's the only reason why I don't want to use reps anymore. That
You know
I
what the
hate
funny
that.
thing is? You know what the funny thing
Mm-hmm.
is? They do not bother me at all. I
Mm-mm.
don't find that I don't know if I've used them so often I'm now immune to it, but because when I started they were sore. But like now I'm like I can do a
Yeah.
whole I can do I there was one training block. I was squatting 3 times a week for 12 weeks in reps. And I was like,
No, no.
yeah, I'm cool with it. Like it's fucking tiring, but the pain I'm fine with.
And you have those red Cerberus ones, right? The cast iron ones,
Oh,
basically.
beautiful.
No,
Fucking love
no.
them.
Mm-mm. I have
Those are comfy. I feel like those are comfy too. There are some uncomfortable
absolutely
wraps,
not.
but those are comfy.
Mm-mm,
I'm
mm-mm,
cool with
and
those.
those things are not. Those are not. I have the black and red ones. That's
Yeah.
like the middle one. So they kind of okayish. I used them once. Have not touched reps since then.
You
I
know, you know what wraps always feels uncomfortable to me is the old Savage red and black ones. The ones that had like a rubbery material to them. They're not a very strong wrap. They're like a beginner-ish wrap. But I don't know if it's the rubber in them or something. But every time I've used those, it's tweaked my hamstring. Every time.
didn't Nicholas
And
squat
other
100
Savage
in
ones
those
don't do
things.
that. But that particular one, every time I've used this, tweaked my hamstring.
I think Nicholas might have done a 400 squat in those red and black ones back in the day, though. The ones I love from Savage
Probably.
are the green and black ones. Those are my favorite wraps ever
Those are good wraps.
from
Those are
Savage.
very good wraps. The Savage
Uh,
yellow
the
ones,
ones
those
that
like ultimate ones.
Savage
I,
yellow
I, I
is
think I've
yellow and
used
black.
them twice. Yeah, yellow and black. Fucking those things are concrete.
Mm.
The first time I tried to
Yes,
wrap
yes.
them, I genuinely couldn't wrap myself. I always wrap myself just because like I train with Nicole and she has small
Mm-hmm,
hands. She can't wrap me. I
mm-hmm,
tried. Genuinely, there is no give to those things. Like, holy shit, I was shocked.
No,
Those things
no.
are
The
concrete.
ones I used,
So one step too far for me.
the orange and black ones, I
Those are good.
tried using them. They threw me forward. I don't like a rep that has too much rebound. I literally went this way when I came up.
All right, I need that
So
rebound. That's how daddy
no,
squats. Help me out the
no, no, no.
hole. I will do the rest myself.
Sleeves for me, and it's just the pain. It's not that I think I'm better in sleeves. I just like the fact that I'm not in pain when I squat in sleeves.
I mean, that's
You
fair.
know,
That's fair. Other thing's a mental
but I
thing.
think internationally, if we look at the international scene, raw is the direction that the rest of the world seems to be taking.
Mm.
So we need to have a few more guys in there with more bigger totals raw. For me, it's a bit of an issue that the biggest total we have raw is Nicholas's total that he did back when. Let me look here.
It's been like a year or two ago.
Um, 2019.
What was that? 892.5. That's so fucking brilliant.
2019,
The
and
man totaled
that's
1,000 more. Yeah.
we need someone to total 1,000 raw, 2 or 3 people raw.
Who do you think is going to do that right now? I don't have anyone in mind who's going to do that now.
If Nicholas decided to, he could.
I mean, sure, him.
If
But I feel
Colton
like
decided to, he also
Colton
would.
could.
Yes.
Colton could. Colton definitely could. But with
The third
Colton
guy
and
you see
Nicholas
here,
now, I think they're very focused on these bigger
right?
meets, massive
Yeah.
totals. I don't think they're
Yes.
going unless they get invited to a big meet that has that in. Then maybe.
That yes. I think, but the third guy you see there, um, he's a strongman now. Massive squat,
Who's
massive
this guy?
bench, massive deadlift. If you look under the raw, you'll see there's Nicholas Johan Smith. Is that Benedict?
Oh wait, yeah, I can tell. I can thingy. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Roar. Benedict.
Yes, Benedict.
Yes, Oak has not
He's a
competed.
strongman athlete now. But if he were to choose to come back, I think he's also one of the guys who could total 1,000 raw. We can't really say with others because we have not seen a lot of raw athletes in the country. It's very what's this? Raps dominate.
Right, raps are the thing right now. Raps are
So,
the
but we
thing
need
right
to
now.
have more
Listen, if it
people
wasn't for
to put it
raps,
to.
I don't think I've done a max squat in sleeves in years. In
I had this discussion with Harjas where I was saying that we need to have 2 divisions, a wrapped one and a raw one. And I'm saying this not to divide the two, but just so we can see the heaviest wrapped squat, the heaviest
mm,
raw squat. And I'm not saying a raw squat is better than a wrap squat because it does there's a lot to getting your reps to work for you. It's not just a thing of putting them on once and then you think you're going to add 40 kilos or 20 kilos. That it doesn't work that way. There's a learning curve to that. There's obviously where you learn, where you also get accustomed to how nonsense they feel. But there's all of that. So
mm,
I do believe just to separate the two, so we can also track the guys who are coming up in terms of the raw, because we need for us to be competitive internationally. We can't have a 982 and then 954 and then 980, and all of these were done in the last 4 years. No one has come close
yeah,
to this in the last. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, it's been a long time. Been a long time.
no, yeah, there's
I,
oh,
I don't know.
there's
As a rap guy myself, I don't give two shits.
mhm. Yeah, no,
I
no,
don't.
no. That's perfectly fine. But as a lover of the sport in its entirety,
Mm,
I think we need more athletes who on the raw side. If especially if we want to be, as you said, I think if the top guys can get invites to these raw meets,
Mm.
then we will start seeing these big numbers fall. But again, I'm
I
back
mean,
to
there
this
needs to
top
be an
20,
incentive. There
this
needs to be
top
an
20
incentive.
Ed, this top 20.
You know what would be, and again, incentive. I feel
Mm,
like the reason powerlifting in SA is growing as slowly as it's growing, because it's growing. Like every year,
mm.
there's more and more people in it, but it's slow. But I feel like there's incentive is missing, man. It's
Yes.
if we could get some wealthy benefactor like other sports get, because let's be honest, golf is boring as fucking sin, but they have very many wealthy benefactors and thus popularity. If we could get someone who just decided, hey, listen, I'm hosting a competition. I'm inviting the top 50 males and the top 50 females. There's 10,000 bucks for the first place, uh, or whatever. Just something like that. I swear, 2, 3 years of that competition, the standard in the entire country would level up
That's fair. That's true.
by a
I
mile.
completely agree with that.
If there
Mm,
was like incentive, because there's so many, like now there's a friend of mine here. Dude, at the friendly little bench press comp I did, dude close gripped 180 for a joke. Doesn't powerlift, doesn't strength train for powerlifting, he does bodybuilding, but he wants to do bodybuilding because he likes bodybuilding and there's no incentive to do powerlifting. But suddenly, guys, and many of them like him, I'm sure you've seen plenty of strong
mm,
walks at the gym,
mm,
haven't
mm.
appeared a day in their life. If those guys were like, hey, listen, if you win this comp, you get 10,000 bucks, suddenly all those guys who have the potential to do it but don't want to, suddenly they flock in. The bug always bites after they've done their first meet. Bug always bites, but getting him in is the issue. If we had that, holy, and I think to the challenge to the federations, I think in the long term, if you invested that money now and next year, overall through entry fees of more people entering competitions, you would make that money back. You would make that money back.
I think for the next podcast, what would be interesting or interesting topic would be to discuss the costs of actually putting together a show and
And
looking
and
at the
and they are
possibility
costs, my friend. They are
and looking
costs.
at the possibility of also discussing sponsorship in the space of powerlifting. I think uh, because at the same time we don't know what's happening behind the scenes. We just come there to compete. So having
Thankfully or unfortunately, I know a little bit of what goes into organizing at least a local small meet.
mm,
Powerlifting is expensive, guy.
it would be it would
I
be
do
amazing.
this for the love of it, not because I'm making
Mm.
money, because these meets are making me broke. I think
It would be very beneficial for us to hear of the other side. I think also with athletes, they will have a little bit more appreciation of what actually goes into it, and it could also we don't know what ideas might come up from there to actually bring in more sponsorship because as you said, golf is boring, but look at the amount of money that's there. I don't think golf is more boring than I don't think powerlifting is more boring than golf. I think
no,
powerlifting has a little
no.
bit of interest in it.
Powerlifting is more exciting. Powerlifting is way more exciting than golf, at least to
So
me. Other people might disagree, but I think objectively, it's a more exciting
yeah,
prospect than golf.
100%. Ed,
But shop
I
man,
need to go be a dad again.
you go. Did you say
I
a
need to go
dad?
be a dad. Yes, I need to go be a dad.
To whom?
My little girl, Ed.
Since when?
Ed. Jesus. Ed, let me go be a dad. Let me go be a dad.
No, man. You and I have to talk off screen because why is this news to me?
This is not. It's not supposed to be news, but let me go be a dad.
Am I crazy?
I even mentioned this.
You know,
I mentioned this the last time.
not the fact that there was an actual human on Earth side.
And we'll talk about this another
Did you
time.
know?
Let me.
If Nicole doesn't know, then it's definitely not a thing. 'Cause she doesn't forget a single thing. We'll talk. We'll talk.
All right, Ed.
All right, chop man. Appreciate you.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, man.